Yo, Archives, we back with another video. Hope y'all doing well, safe and blessed on this Friday night. To all of those who are watching and to those who aren't. As you can see, we back with another video. And as you can see by the title, if you are confused, I actually don't know what the title is going to be about. Or not what the title is going to be about, but I don't know what the title is going to be. I'm currently trying to think while in the process of making this video, like currently, like right now. But I know it's going to have something to do with soul, right? And if you're confused by that, Soul, it's a Pixar movie. I don't know when it came out. Came out a couple years ago for sure because I watched it when I was younger. Like, I don't know how young I was. I forgot when Soul came out. Maybe like 2019 COVID. I'm not sure. But Soul came out a couple years ago, right? And it's a Pixar movie. And this movie has many messages, meanings. Like the message of the movie is great. It's so many messages all in one movie. And think about Pixar. Like before I even start, like one thing I love about Pixar is my favorite movie corporation, favorite movie company ever because all of their movies they have meanings in it. Like and the way that they capture it in those movies is exactly how they want you to capture it. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these corporations, companies, they have messages, but they're not like Pixar, man. Like every Pixar movie has a message in it, right? Hidden message, like meaning, all of it. And it's amazing because their movies they have life in it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not just your regular smegular movie. Like it's a movie that gives you something at the end. You know what I'm saying? It makes you look at things different. Possibly. Like it makes you it motivates you, inspires you. Like it just gives you every feeling in the book, man. And this movie is about a jazz artist, right? His name is Joe. He's a middle school band teacher. And Joe, his passion, right? He believes his passion is music, jazz, right? Apparently his dad introduced it to him. Um, and from there on, he believed that he was born to play music, right? Play the piano, do music. And throughout his life, he had a lot of gigs, failed gigs, denials, such and such, right? And throughout his entire life, he's continued to play music, right? He's never looked for anything else. He's never explored anything else because he thought his passion was to play music. And sometimes, rightfully so, we think we're born to do something. And because we think that, we force ourselves to endure it and we don't allow ourselves to spread our wings and fly. You know what I'm saying? Um, and in the beginning of the movie, he's offered a full-time job at his middle school, right? And in his face, you can clearly see that's not what he wants, right? It's not what he wants to do. He wants to play music. He wants to do music. He doesn't want to work a normal job. He has no passion for anything but music. And he tells his mom, right? He goes back to his mom. And in this movie, his mom doesn't want him to do music, right? Because his dad did it and such happened with his dad. And his mom is a traditional mom, right? She wants him to have a full-time job. She wants him to be working, you know what I'm saying? Doing something traditional, right? Just like a lot of old school parents for some reason. But it's not what he wants to do. And he lies to her, right? And he tells her, oh, he's going to take the full-time middle school band teacher job, right? Because it gives him pensions and insurance and benefits and such, right? Just like all these jobs do. Um, but he tells her he's gonna take it to get off his back, right? And in the process, after that, he gets a call from one of his old students, and one of his old students tells him that he's on tour with one of I don't know in that realm, but I guess whoever it was, she was one of like the biggest jazz artists or whatever, right? And he tells Joe that they need somebody to play the piano, right? And Joe had been looking for a gig, like a big gig his entire life. Like this is a life-changing gig, you know what I'm saying? Like when we have a passion, when we have something we love doing, right? And where we're enduring it, we're doing it. We look for those big not successes, but we look for those breakthroughs, right? Something that will take us to the top, something that will you know what I'm saying, allow us to reach where we want to reach in those passions, you know, in those purposes. You know what I'm saying? And they tell him, yo, we need somebody, you know what I'm saying, come down to the spot and play, right? And he goes down there, he plays for, and he gets the gig, right? So Joe, after he gets the gig, he's walking back home and he's paying attention to quite literally nothing. He's paying attention to nothing. Like he's walking under construction. He's crossing the street without looking both ways. He's on his phone, right? Because he's happy, right? And when we get those breakthroughs, rightfully so, and we're happy, we ignore everything, right? Because we're so happy, right? Like this could be the life-changing moment. This is what we needed, right? That one win. And Joe, he feels like he got that, right? So he's walking home, right? And he's paying mind to nothing. He's aware to literally nothing, right? And while he's walking home, he steps on a pothole, and the pothole is not secure, and he falls through it, and apparently he dies, right? And when he dies in this movie, he gets transported to the great beyond. It's what they call the great beyond, and there's a big light, right? And he's like being transported to the big light, and he has no clue what's going on, right? And he starts running back, right, until he finds another soul, right? Because now he's a soul, and he finds three other souls, and he's like, well, what? He's like, what is this place? I don't think I'm supposed to be here, such and such, right? And they tell him like, you know, this is the great beyond, this is afterlife, and he's like, so I'm dead, right? And he starts panicking. He starts running back through all the souls, and he's trying to get out, right? Because he's not trying to die. Like he just got his big breakthrough. He's not trying to die. He'll want to die after getting a big breakthrough, right? Life changing moment with what they're doing, like with what they love doing, right? And he's running back, right? And he's like jumping on to everything, and he tears through like the I don't know, he tears through like the realm, right? Because it's kind of like, I don't want to say space, but he tears through like that time and space. He tears through it and he transports himself to the grave before. And in this movie, the grave before is all the little souls before they go to Earth, right? And it's basically life before Earth. It's like being in a womb, basically. But in this universe, like it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? So he goes to the grave before and he's trying to find his way back to Earth. He's panicking. He's like, how do I get back to Earth, man? You know what I'm saying? I got to get back to my body. I got to do this gig, right? Like my life has changed. Like I'm doing what I love, such and such, right? And he meets the people that are running this grave before, and they tell him, well, you know, we can help you get back, right? And as they're trying to help him get back, he sneaks off and he finds the way to Earth, like this Earth portal, because in the movie there was this Earth portal to where like people who had Earth passes could jump and like go to Earth, basically to start their life, right? And he jumps and he gets transported back up, and he jumps again, and it happens again, and he keeps jumping, and he's getting transported back up, and he has no idea why, right? And what happens is one of the people, I forgot what they were called, but one of the people come over and they tell him, well, you can't go back without an Earth pass, right? And they open the thing to the great beyond because he's dead. Like that's the only place, you know, where he can go. And he's like making every excuse in the book to not go, you know what I'm saying? Because he doesn't want to die. You know, he doesn't want to go to the afterlife. And um there's a opening for him, right, to escape. And it's like this mentorship, right? It's like mentors, such and such, right? And he goes and he takes one of the passes, the badges, right? And his name is not on any of them. So he takes a random badge and he gets into the mentor building, right? And they're calling out mentors and they call out his fake name, right? And he goes up and they're pairing him up with souls, right, to find their spark and their purpose, you know, to continue on the earth. And he finds, or he gets paired up with this soul called 22. And 22 is a soul that's been there forever, right? She's gotten paired up with multiple mentors and they've all failed, right? Because they couldn't find her spark or her purpose. And in this movie, what the souls required to get an Earth pass was they had to fill out like these badges, right? They had this badge and they had to fill out what was in the badges, right? And I don't it was like a couple of things I forgot, but at the end, like to get the one final thing to complete it, they had to like find their purpose, right? And she has been there for a long time because nobody could help her find her purpose. She has no purpose, no passion to do any of the normal things, right? And I related to that because I myself have no passion, you know what I'm saying, to do any of the normal jobs or things you see in today's world, like lawyer, doctor, regular office job, maybe police officer, firefighter. I have no passion, no desire to do any of that. And she doesn't as well. So, Joe, the first thing he does is he takes her to this hall called um, the Everything Hall, which it has every job, everything you could think of, right? And in that hall, 22, she's testing out things, right? And she's has no desire to do anything, right? She's not getting that final piece of the puzzle to get her Earth pass. And during that, they make a deal because Joe's trying to get back to Earth, and 22 doesn't want to go back to Earth. I mean, she doesn't want to go to Earth at all. Like, she hasn't been. Like, she doesn't want to go. She doesn't want to live, apparently, right? She, for some reason, dislikes Earth. She hates Earth, right? And she hasn't even been. And Joe has been, and he's trying to get back. So as they're talking, they make a deal because Joe's trying to get back and she doesn't want to go. So he's like, I'll help you get your Earth pass, and then you'll give your Earth pass to me, and you'll just stay here, right? And they make that deal. And Joe reveals himself to her, and he's like, I'm not this mentor, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said in earlier, he had a fake badge. So he reveals himself, and they're going through his memories. And in his memories, it's music, him playing music, but his memories, his life memories look so depressing. They have no energy. They're full of sadness and sorrow. And 22 notices that, and she's like, your life looks depressing, you know what I'm saying? You don't look like you're having fun. And he's like, no, 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 music is my passion. I don't remember a lot of my memories going like this, right? Such and such, right? And the movie continues on, and they're just doing stuff, right? And they find this I don't want to say portal. It's not, because it wasn't a portal. Oh, they find this passageway, right, to get back to Joe's body. And they find this guy, and apparently he's like a specialist in helping people put their souls back into their body. And they get there, and he helps Joe, right? And during his process in helping Joe, Joe sees himself in the hospital bed, and there's a cat laying on his lap, right? And Joe is so eager, so impatient, what I'm saying, to get back to his body. He messes up, I guess you could say, the ritual, the process. And he jumps in with 22 to get back to his body, right? And when he opens his eyes, right, he notices himself. He notices his body. He's looking at his body, but he's not in it, right? And he's a cat, because there was a cat sitting on his body in the hospital bed, and he's a cat. And 22 is in his body. And now he's panicking because he's like, what? Like, I just did all this and I jumped into a cat, and 22 is in my body now. And 22 wakes up in his body, and she's freaking out because she's in a human body. She's never been in a human body, and she doesn't want to be on Earth. And Joe doesn't want to be in a cat because he has a gig tonight. It's the biggest gig of his life. It's life changing. He's trying everything in his power to get back to that, right? And Joe, he notices, right, 22's in his body. And they're freaking out. They don't know what to do. 22 doesn't know how to control a human body. And she gets up, and Joe is speaking to her. And they're the only ones that can understand each other, because Joe is a cat and she is a soul. And they're the only ones that can understand each other. And they make an agreement. Joe's like, just help me get to the gig, right? Just help me get to the gig. Help me get there, and he'll take care of the rest. Because their goal was to find the guy, his human self, to help them repair what had just happened, right? So that's their goal. And they leave the hospital, and 22 finally steps out into the human world. and she's like I said, she's never stepped foot on Earth. She hasn't even lived yet, and for some reason she hates Earth. So she steps out of the hospital, and mind you, they're in New York, so y'all know New York is loud. It's loud. It's chaotic. It's everything that you can think of. So she steps outside, and she gets like blasted. Like it's loud. It's a lot of people. Uh, it's everything, and she gets scared and she runs away and she hides in this little confined space. And Joe finds her and he's trying to encourage her to, get up and go so they continue on with the process so that they can, help each other and Joe can get back to his body and get to the gig, right? And 22 can go back to the great before. And she doesn't want to get up, right? So Joe, he persuades her with pizza because he's never had pizza, right? And he gets her a slice of pizza, and at first she's hesitant to try. She's already rejecting it before she's even tried it. But the smell is attracting her to it. So she eats the pizza. She like devours it in like 10 seconds, maybe, right? And she eats the pizza and she's like, wow, this is delicious. You know what I'm saying? But to Joe, she's like, it's all right. You know what I'm saying? Like she trying to like, throw him off basically, right? And in her head, we can see that she's enjoying it. She's like, this is amazing. This is delicious. And Joe, he persuades her to get up, right? She gets up. She's like, okay, well, if you're going to keep doing this, then I'll go. I'll help you, right? And on the way, they get more food. You know what I'm saying? They're walking. And 22, she's just basically taking it all in. She's walking. She's helping Joe. Joe is, what I'm saying, trying to persuade her. He's trying to navigate, her through the city. And as they're walking, Joe is in a, mind you, they just got at the hospital, right? So Joe is in a hospital gown and he has nothing under. He's in his dress shoes with his hat and he has pizza sauce all over him, right? Because 22 is controlling his body once again. So, um, as they're walking down the street, they're trying to catch a taxi, a cab, right? And Joe is telling 22, yo, put your hand up, you know what I'm saying, so that we can catch a cab. And a cab stops and they run down to it. And who comes out of the car is the jazz artist, the big jazz artist that gave him the gig, right? And the rest of the crew. And she sees him and she's like, Teach, like, Joe, is that you? Like, I just saw you a couple hours ago. And Joe looking all crazy, you know what I'm saying? He's looking like a crazy man, right? He has a hospital gown on. He's looking insane. And Joe, as the cat, he pulls 22 into the cab. And they get into the cab and they rush to Joe's house. And as they get to Joe's house, 22 gets in. They both get in. And Joe's student, the one that gave him the opportunity, calls him, right? And Joe picks up, and on the phone, the student is like, Joe, I don't know what happened, man, but Dorothea, that was her name. He was like, Dorothea, she saw you, man, and she thought you looked all crazy, and we ended up finding somebody else. But the student was like, but if you get there a little early, you know what I'm saying? If you get all dressed up, man, and you get there looking nice, and you get there early, you can still get the gig back. And Joe, he's motivated again. He's like, okay, I can still get the gig. I can still get the gig, right? He's so focused on getting the gig. His whole life, he's been focused on music, mind you. Keep that in mind. So he's like, 22, I can still get the gig. Help me out. And 22, she doesn't know what to do. She's just following Joe's direction, right? But she's being like refusive. I believe that's the word. She's being refusive, right? She's refusing to kind of follow his directions because she kind of wants to do her own thing. She's exploring. She's now in a human body, right? She's now in a human body, and after that phone call, she agrees to help Joe. She gets in the shower, and she gets in the shower. She does all that stuff, and after that, Joe tries to line himself up. I'm explaining the whole entire movie. It's crazy. This is the longest video I ever made. 20 minutes. It's crazy, but it's worth it. So she's explaining the movie. I'm not. She explaining the movie. Joe's trying to line her up. My bad. Joe's trying to line himself up, and but he's a cat trying to do this, right? And he's on a stack of books. And as he's trying to line her up, he's getting closer. He slips and he we all seen that in movies, right? Where somebody messes up haircut and they boom. You know what I'm saying? So that happens, right? And Joe's like, oh my goodness. Like everything's going wrong at this point. Like everything's quite literally going wrong. So he messes himself up and he's like, man, what do I do now? And he goes to his local barber shop, right? And he walks in and he sits in a chair. And remember, 22 is in his human body. So he's acting unusual, right? Because Joe, all he talks about with his barber is just jazz, right? He never got to talk anything else but jazz, because it's all Joe wanted to do. So Joe is just like, when you get in here, just sit down and get the cut, right? Don't say nothing because it's not me. Don't say anything. And 22 gets in there and she starts talking, she just starts talking to the barber and she starts asking him questions and he starts explaining his life story to her, right? And she starts explaining her life story, not her life story, but the way that she feels, right? And in the process of him telling her his life story, he tells her that he never wanted to become a barber. He said he wanted to become a veterinarian, but because of what happened in his life with his daughter and such, barber school was a much cheaper option, affordable option than veterinarian school. So, with what happened in his life, with what he thought his purpose was and what he wanted it to be, he found a new purpose with the events and the tragic events of what happened in his life, right? And it led him on a new path and a new journey. And she was like, she asked him, she was like, well, um, I forgot what she said. I'm not sure if she said, because I just literally watched the movie. She was like, uh, she's like, so why do you even do barbering or something like that, right? Basically, like questioning if he even likes it. And he was like, no, I love it, right? Because he was like, when people get in the chair, they get to tell me their life stories and I get to hear such and such and whatever, right? And through this process, Joe is the cat, right? And he can't say anything, so he's just observing and listening. And after they get out the shop, 22 asked the barber, she was like, well, why haven't you ever told me your life story? And she's saying this as Joe, right? The barber doesn't know once again. I know I keep saying that, but I'm trying to, emphasize that. And he was like, because you never asked. And apparently, Joe, he never asked about the barber's life story. You know what I'm saying? He always made it about himself, and jazz. And Joe realizes that his eyes, they widen as a cat, and he just keeps that in mind. And they go on, and as they're walking, they gotta get a suit. And Joe, his suit that he originally had chose, it ripped. The back of his pants, they ripped, and he has no other option, to go to his mom to get it fixed. And he doesn't want to go to his mom because he doesn't want to tell her that he accepted this gig because she wants him to take the full time teaching role. And he goes into the shop, right? And his mom is already in the office, and the people that are working for her, they point to the office, and she's like, I'm in here. You know what I'm saying? And as a black kid, you know what that means. His mom knew, you know. I don't know who told her, but his mom knew, right? And he walks into the room and his mom was like, so I see that you decided to take the gig instead of the full-time teaching job and you lied to me and such. And his mom was like, what did I tell you about taking all these gigs? I don't want you doing it, such and such, right? She was like, your father, he did this all his life and you saw what happened to him and such, right? And Joe, he feels like his mom doesn't understand his dream and his passion. And this is one of the messages of the movie. You know what I'm saying? Um, he was like, Mom, I feel like I was born to do this. You know what I'm saying? I love music. And I don't know why you're not happy that I love music. Why you're not happy that I'm doing this. I'm doing something that I love, my passion, what I feel like my purpose is. And he was like, you allowed my dad to do it, but why are you not happy that I'm doing it? Right? And she was like, you can't eat breakfast, or she was like, you can't eat dreams for breakfast. You know what I'm saying? You have to do something that's stable, that's, realistic. And he's like, well, then I don't want to eat. And that one specific line hit so hard because a lot of us don't want to do anything but chase our dreams. And people don't understand that, when they're not seeing it from our perspectives. They don't understand why we continue to do the things that we do, why we pour so much into the passion that we love, why we pour so much into ourselves. They don't understand that, right? And she was just like, you can't do that. And he was like, well, then I don't want to eat if I can't do that, if I can't dream, if you're not going to allow me to chase my passion, right? And she finally understood after he said that. And that message, just from that scene, was like, people try to dictate our lives and our passions so much because they want to see us doing something that, I don't want to say, don't scratch that. People just try to dictate our lives, and they try to dictate what they want our passion to be because they want to see us doing something stable. You know what I'm saying? They want to see us living a traditional life. And of course, some of them want the best for us, but the message is, man, never let anybody try to dictate your passion and your dream in your life. Go chase your dreams, man. Do what you want. It's your life. Once again, I've said this in my videos plenty of times. It is your life, man. Never let anybody try to dictate what you can do. And that was his mom, his family, somebody who birthed him. It could be anybody, man. Like, people will try to do that, and they'll be the closest ones to you. And you're like, how come you don't support me? You know what I'm saying? But that was one of the messages in the movie, man. Just don't let people try to dictate your life, right? And after that scene, she ends up helping him fix up his suit and whatever, right? And they start walking to the gig, right? So, and they start walking to meet the man at the place so that he can swap their souls again, so they can get it right and Joe can go play, in the show. And they get there, and there's a moment where 22, she's sitting down, right? And she looks at a father, walking his daughter, and she's looking at the sky, and a leaf falls on her hand, and she's observing everything around her, the noises, the sights, and Joe asks her, he says, so are you enjoying your time on Earth? And she was like, I always thought I would dislike Earth because I didn't know what my passion or my spark would be. And remember, this whole entire time, they're trying to find her passion and her spark, right? They're trying to find it. And she's like, I never knew, what I'm saying, that I could like Earth. I never knew what living would do for me. You know what I'm saying? And the guy finally comes, and they're like, he's like, well, so come on, so I can do the soul transfer, the swap or whatever, right? And 22's like, no. She's like, I don't want to do it. I want to continue to live, right? And so she runs away. She runs away, and Joe chases after her, and mind you, one of the people that is from like that universe or whatever, he was sent down there to find him, right? Because Joe's not supposed to be alive, he's dead, right? So he's sent down there to find him, and he finds him as Joe is chasing 22, right? And he pushes both of their souls back, into that realm. And 22, when they get back into that realm, they're arguing, Joe and 22, and Joe's like, you only did this because you only were enjoying Earth because you were in my body, such and such. You were living my life. You did this, you did that, such and such, this and that, right? And they're arguing. And as they're arguing, one of the people noticed that 22 got her Earth badge, right? And they look and they're like, how did she get her Earth badge? Because she's been there forever. Not one mentor could help her find her spark, her purpose, her passion, right, to acquire that Earth pass. And they're like, "How did you get that Earth pass?" Right? And she looks at Joe and she throws it at him, right? She throws it at him because he wants to go back to Earth so bad, and she wants to live, right? And they made their agreement, right? So she throws it at him, and Joe, he initially takes it and he goes back to Earth, right? And he plays in the gig, right? And he has the time of his life. It's great. People loved it. And as he walks out and he's talking to the jazz artist, the star, he tells her, he was like, "Man, I've been waiting for this moment my entire life, but I thought I would feel different," right? And that hits so hard because that also emphasizes that we blind ourselves so much to things we think that we were meant to do, or things that we love, that when we finally get it, we realize, or we feel like it wasn't what we were meant to do. You know, that you might have chose the wrong passion, that you missed out on things. You know what I'm saying? That you blinded yourself because you were so focused on this one path, on this one journey of life, right? And she told him this little story. She was like, "You know, there's this one saying where there's this fish that goes up to another fish. And this fish is like, I'm trying to find the ocean. And that fish is like, well, you're in water already. Why are you trying to find the ocean?" You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the difference from the ocean and the water that you're in? And that fish is like, "I want to be in the ocean. I want to be in the ocean." Right? And she leaves that with him, and she walks away. You know, she gets in her cab and she leaves. And Joe, he realizes, he's like, "Oh my goodness, you know, he messed up." Because he gets back to his apartment and he's looking at all the things that 22 acquired throughout the day. You know, the pizza, all the food, you know, this lollipop she was sucking on in the barbershop, you know, the string that fixed his suit, you know what I'm saying? Everything that she endured during that day she acquired. He's looking at all of it, right? And he's like, "I messed up." You know, he's like, "I gotta get back." He's like, "Gotta get back to 22 and give her Earth pass," you know? And so he gets back, you know, by playing music because he gets into the zone. And he gets back to wherever this realm is, right? And he's like, "I gotta find 22," right? And he finds the guy that originally helped him even get back, you know, get in that position. And they get there, you know, to this space in that realm, and it's basically a space where it's a lot of lost souls, right? And they see 22, and the guy's like, "Well, 22 has become a lost soul," right? And Joe's like, "Oh my goodness," you know what I'm saying? Like, she's a lost soul. I gotta help her, right? And so they're chasing her, and Joe, he's chasing her because the guy that was originally helping him, you know, he like crashed his ship or whatever in the movie, right? Trying to, you know, tie her down. And as he's chasing her, like she's constantly getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, she's becoming a bigger lost soul, like a bigger entity or whatever, right? And so he's chasing her throughout this realm. And he finally stops her at the portal to go to Earth. And as he stops her, like she like engulfs him, right? And he gets into her subconscious, or her subconscious, right? And he's hearing like all the things that she's telling herself, like she serves no purpose, you know, she has no spark, she's not meant for this, you know, she's everything negative, right? Because it's all the mentors, you know, in her subconscious that were telling her she's worth nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like she's gonna find no spark, she's gonna find no purpose, she's meant for nothing at all, right? And I forgot what exactly Joe told her, but he told her something to, you know, break that spirit, and he releases her out of that lost soul, and he gives her Earth pass. And you know, Joe can't go with her, right? He can't go to Earth. Remember, I said in the beginning of this video that, you know, when Joe originally got there, he tried to jump, you know, to Earth so many times, and it kept lifting him back up, right? He could never fully get there. And 22 is like, well, you can't make it all the way down here. Why do you still want to go? And he's like, I'll go as far as I can with you. You know what I'm saying? So they jump, and as 22 is approaching closer to Earth, it comes a point where they have to let go. You know what I'm saying? And Joe, he lets go. He gives her a nod, you know what I'm saying, to go live her life, enjoy it. And he lets go, and Joe, he rises back up, and he's transported back to the great beyond, the white light, the big white light, you know what I'm saying, to really transcend into the afterlife. And as he's doing that, the one of the instructors or whatever, they come and they tell Joe, they stop him, and they're like, Joe, I don't know what it was that you did to help her acquire that Earth Pass. But he was like, or the instructor was like, not many people, because they were a basically inspirational, motivational type of thing, right? And they were talking about we don't find many people that inspire us. And they were like, well, you inspired us through what you were doing to help 22 get her Earth Pass. And they were like, we feel like you deserve another chance at life. You know what I'm saying? And Joe, he's like, "What? You feel like I deserve another chance? Like, really?" Excuse me. Excuse me, sorry. And they're like, "Yeah, we feel like you deserve another chance." And I'm sorry, 8. And she asked him, she's like, "Well, what are you gonna do with it? What are you gonna do with this second chance?" And he's like, "I'm gonna live my life to the fullest, to the max." And the movie ends there. I don't know if I give a good, explanation of it or whatever, but the movie ends there. No, that's what I can remember. The movie ends there, and the message that I got from the movie, like as a whole, was just that the meaning to life, just like I said in my other, because this video correlates with the other video, because this movie was actually what inspired me to make that video yesterday. It actually came from an edit that one of my friends sent me. It was an edit of Soul. It inspired me to watch the movie so I can make for a video on the movie. So because I remembered it, you know what I'm saying? I remember what it was about. And in the edit, I was like, man, this movie, I just remember that it has a great message, so I want to watch it. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the movie, I just gathered that like the meaning of life is just never let somebody dictate your life and your passions, your dreams. Never let anybody tear down your goals. And remember what I said yesterday about sparks. You know how earlier in the video I was saying how they took her to the Hall of Everything to try to find her spark and her purpose forcefully. And I feel like trying to find your spark and your purpose forcefully is a hit or miss because you can do things to try to find your purpose. You can force yourself to like something enough to where it sometimes can become a true passion and a true purpose. You know what I'm saying? But 9 times out of 10, if you force yourself to do something, you're really not going to like it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not natural. It doesn't come natural at all. And, um, in him doing that, like I said, they didn't find her spark, her purpose. But like I said, sparks are what keep us going in life. A spark can be anything. And 22 found her spark while just living life naturally, while walking, while observing. Even the leaf that fell on her hand, the little things, those are all sparks to keep us going. And that's why I said I don't overlook the little things because they have so much meaning to life. We often overlook the little things for the big things, and that example was Joe. Joe overlooked everything in his life for music. And once he got that big gig, he quite literally overlooked everything in his life. And what did that cause? For him to die. You know what I'm saying? And 22 found her spark, her purpose, and naturally living and letting it come to her by spreading her wings and flying. That's why I said in that video yesterday, we wake up every day complaining about life, you know what I'm saying? But we're blessed with days full of opportunities. But we wake up every day and some people just complain about life, you know what I'm saying? They complain that they don't have this, that they don't have that they're not in these positions, right? And they overlook the little things because they have not what they want, but what they need. You know what I'm saying? And they overlook it and it causes them to become miserable and undetermined, unmotivated, depressed. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, any day above ground is a good day. You know, that's what people have to realize as well, is that you being alive is already enough. You know what I'm saying? But what comes after that is what comes after it. You know what I'm saying? But you being alive is everything. Some people don't have the option to wake up every single day. We don't even have the option. You know, that's just something that we're blessed with. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, you know, we often try to find our passion and our purpose, you know, forcefully, and we just overlook the little things, and it just causes us to, you know, kind of just derail ourselves. But if we truly let it come natural and we allow these sparks to help us keep going, what comes with it is our purpose, and it's the meaning of life. It's our spark. That's what it is. I feel like that's really the true meaning. That's the purpose, the true meaning of life. Is just to live naturally, man. Notice the little things. Help people. Live life, because remember, like I said earlier, Joe had never asked his barber about his life. Joe always made it about himself and music. He never asked his barber about his life, not once. And if you stop making everything about yourself and you cater to others' life stories can give you purpose, you know what I'm saying? And sparks to keep going. But you often overlook that because you're so worried about yourself and what you don't have, man. And no, I'm not telling you to stop chasing your dreams, stop chasing your passions, because some people feel like they were born to do certain things, and rightfully so, you know what I'm saying? If it works out for you, it works out for you. I'm not trying to tear down your passion, take away your dreams, tell you to stop chasing. No. You know what I'm saying? By all means, continue to do that. I'm just trying to give you a new, you know, a different perspective on it. You know what I'm saying? But like that movie, it was just beautiful. Like it was great, you know. Like you guys should go watch it. This video is actually so long, that's crazy. But you guys should go watch it, man, because you might take from it differently than I have, than what I took from it. But like, I feel like at the end of the day, we will all come to the same conclusion, man. You know what I'm saying? We'll all come to the same conclusion, to just live life, man, because you never know what can happen. You don't know what you're meant to do. You know what I'm saying? You have no clue what you're meant to do until you live. You have to live to know what you want to do, what you're meant to do. You know what I'm saying? And your passion, your purpose, like I said, can change any day, every day. They passions, they come and go. You know what I'm saying? So realistically, you're meant to do everything in the world. You just gotta live. You just have to live. So with that, man, that's why I love Pixar movies, because they really do have true meanings, true messages in them. Um, and they just, you know, make you look at life differently. So with that, you know what I'm saying? I hope I gave you guys a good explanation on it. I hope you guys um go watch that movie. You know what I'm saying? I love you guys. You guys stay blessed, stay safe, keep God first, stay patient, and stay patient because it's on the way. I'm gonna catch you on the next one. I love y'all. Peace.